Tahaad Pettiford is proving to be one of the best freshmen in the country.
Johnson goes to deny. Step back. Big three.
It's got you here.
Jones doesn't go. The tip by Broome. Up ahead, Harper.
Hello and welcome to this episode of War Eagle Weekly. How are we doing tonight, Josh?
Man, I just hate that we gotta wait till the 25th for more Auburn basketball, man.
Hey,
I'm doing
good news and bad news. We got to wait till the 25th. Gives Johni Broome possible more time to get back. But we'll talk about that later on in this episode. Josh, we had one game where Auburn really looked like the number one team in the country. And then we had another game where they didn't quite. But let's first talk about that Mississippi State game. We win that game running away with it. I mean, the score wasn't as close as the game really was. 88-66 at Neville Arena. The crowd came. They dominated themselves. And Auburn just showed why it was the number one team in the country, even without Broome.
Yeah, I mean, they just found a way to come together and beat, Mississippi State. It was talk of a trap game, and they just came out and showed why Auburn shouldn't be trifled with, and it was an amazing thing to watch. But whenever you hold a team to 12.5% from behind the arc, that's just a good day.
Yeah,
a good day. And Mississippi State, they're not a bad team from the three. They really aren't.
No,
and they just. It was a very good game, very fun to watch.
Defensively, they just imposed their will. Hubbard had 0 points at halftime and finished the game only making 2 of his shots. Now, he did go 11 for 12 from the free throw line, but they refused to let him get a clean look and refused to let him get in a rhythm. And that was by far, in my opinion, the key to the game, to be perfectly honest with you. The defense just completely showed out.
That was a very complete game. I mean, you're missing your star player, and your team still came out there and did that to the number 15 team in the country. I mean, the only thing that was very apparent is that when we were missing Johni Broome is the rebound numbers. They smoked us in the rebound category. Oh my goodness, they boat raced us. But where it counted and mattered the most, when it mattered the most, though, Auburn came out on top in a very big fashion. And it was very refreshing to see the team come together in the first game without Johni Broome and just take care of business.
Yeah. In the first half, it was the Chaney Johnson and Chad Baker-Mazara game. Especially Chaney Johnson, he just imposed his will on the offensive end and looked like he could not be stopped. And Chad Baker-Mazara, we talked about it in the last episode as to whether or not they were going to run the team or how they were going to run the team's offense. Josh, I'm sorry, but it looks like I'm right. They're running it through Chad.
In that game, they certainly did run it through Chad. We'll get to the other game here in a second because we're in this aspect. We're both right, Cameron.
No, I'm sorry. Okay. In the Georgia game, and like you said, we'll get to that, but in the Georgia game, Tahaad Pettiford was the only one scoring, and he did a lot of the offensive production. But Chad was the one taking shot after shot after shot after shot. He finished the game, that Georgia game, taking, let's see here, how many shots? I think it was 16 shots. Yeah, he took 16 shots in the Georgia game, and he took 11 in the Mississippi State game. The offense is running through him. Now, again, in the Georgia game, Tahaad Pettiford is the reason why we won that game, and we'll talk more about that and everything. But this team in that Mississippi State game, it was a defensive win. I mean, just by and large, it was a defensive win. Without the defensive performance and without what they did on the defensive end, how many blocks was it? They went out there and had a block party, 10 blocks. I mean, come on. That was just, It was unbelievable.
No cups, no juice. You're not allowed. It's just, I cannot get enough of Ron Slay from that game, dude. He was a gold mine, dude.
Every game. Yeah.
I called. I sent him a message on Twitter, and he got back to me, and it's just if he officiate or not really officiates. Sorry, I misspoke. If he is a commentator for every Auburn home game, I'm all for it. That was the first time I've ever enjoyed an SEC network not officiating crew. I misspoke again. Commentary group. I mean,
officiating has been that bad that it's on your mind constantly.
It's always on my mind, especially in that game. They shot like 12 or 15 more free throws than Auburn did in that game, but that was just an all around fun game. I mean, they weren't commentating to one side the whole game. It was just they were just hype men for the entire game.
Yes,
they were just so fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, they wanted it to be a good game. And first time since both teams have been in the top 10 since 1959. I mean,
top 15.
Just top 15. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Mississippi State is a good team, and we just completely destroyed them. Moving right along, though, let's talk about the Georgia game. And, hey, we found a way to win, even with the bad officiating, especially down the stretch. This was a brawl. I mean, we got out to a 24-point lead, and then Georgia just came back, and at halftime we're up. We're down 41-37. We haven't talked about this at all, and nobody really is right now. And I think it's important for somebody to point this out. But I think we need to be a little worried about the production from Denver Jones. Denver Jones from behind the arc specifically has not looked good in the last probably 4 or 5 games. He did a stretch where he could not miss, but in the last 4 or 5 games, I feel like he has really underperformed. In the Georgia game alone, he was 3 for 8, 1 for 4 from behind the arc. In the Mississippi State game, he also had a very similar stat line. He was 3 for 8 and 1 for 5 from the 3-point line. He's disappeared offensively in games. He's still doing his job defensively. Well, is this something that you think we should be worried about?
No, not at all. Because again, you're missing the leader in assists on the Auburn team in Johni Broome. Johni Broome is one hell of a passing big man. He draws so much attention down low. It's just leaving these sharpshooters wide open behind the arc. And without Johni Broome taking all that attention away from the 3-point shooters, it's gonna cause more contested shots. And that's exactly what teams have been doing. Denver Jones are clamping down on him on the arc, and they're making him shoot his way out of a slump. So I don't think it's any cause for concern, especially when Johni Broome comes back. I expect it to come back with no problem whatsoever.
Well, even like in the South Carolina game, he was 2 for 6, 0 for 1 from the 3. In the Texas game, he was 3 for 6 and 1 for 3. Okay, so he shot 50% there. So, okay, maybe it is just the last 3 games. It felt like he had disappeared. Let me check the Missouri game and see, what he did. In the Missouri game, he was 3 for 7. So he's kind of just around the same. Yeah, Auburn and Missouri. I'm just going back a couple of games to look at his stats. So I don't know. I feel like it's definitely more noticeable now that Broome is gone and is sitting on the bench. But all in all, we found a way to win. I texted you halfway through the second half, and if you took away Tahaad Pettiford's shooting, which I mean, I know that was a big part of the scoring, but if you take away his shooting, Auburn was shooting 28.9% from the court. Okay, that is a recipe for getting defeated, and we just looked horrid. Chad Baker-Mazara started the game 2 for 10. He finished it really well. He went on a nice run there at the end. He finished 5 for 16, and he hit a big 3 that really saved us close to the end of the game. And he finished 3 for 6 from behind the arc. But 5 of 16. Georgia really exposed this team, and if we don't have Johni Broome moving forward in the Tennessee game specifically, I think it's a recipe for disaster, and I think we could lose.
See,
it's
I
at
think
Neville,
you're
totally different team. I get that.
I think you're wrong in that aspect about Auburn being exposed. I mean, look back at the last time Auburn was ranked number 1 and went to Georgia. We only won by 2 points in that game too. So Georgia is a tough out, no matter when you play them and where you play them. They're a tough out.
At home, 11 games in a row prior to this game. So yeah, they're good at home, really good at home.
Yeah, they really are. So I mean, again, they're going to be a tough team, and with Auburn being the number 1 ranked team, they're going to get 115% from every team they face because no one wants to see Auburn at number 1 for longer than they are right now. So it's just
that's true.
You're going to get everyone's best shot, and hopefully, regardless of whether we have Johni Broome or not, Bruce Pearl has proven that he has a plan A, which would be Chad Baker-Mazara, like you said, and plan B, Tahaad Pettiford. He's just that firecracker off the bench. It's just there's always going to be another plan that Bruce Pearl and company is going to have up their sleeve, and they're going to make it work, and they're going to find a way to win. Just as long as you keep winning, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning.
Exactly, Dom. You hit the nail on the head. it is exactly right. You win. A win is a win is a win, and a win, quad 1 win on the road is even better. My thing is I just think it's a little concerning. Either way, Auburn shot the worst it has shot probably in 2 years. I don't remember there being a worse shooting game than this one last year. And we still found a way to win because of one ice in his veins, a big time baller, Tahaad Pettiford. That dude, he was on a mission. Dude. He continues to show in the biggest moments he is going to step up. He is not going to be an Aiden Holloway who went 2 for something in the Kentucky game where they did win, but it was definitely not because of him. Here, before we move on to Tahaad Pettiford, you could clearly see that this team was gassed. Okay, we're giving a lot of credit to Tahaad Pettiford, rightly so, for winning us this Georgia game. But I think one of the most important players in that game was Jaheim Hudson. That dude gave every inch of his abilities in that game. He stepped up so big, played 18 minutes. He's averaging 8 minutes a game, folks. And he played 18 minutes in that game. Only had 2 buckets, but hit 1 free throw. That was pretty big down the stretch. Okay. Had 3 rebounds. He just looked defensively. He looked like he was just enough. And the amount of minutes he gave, because Chaney Johnson, 35 minutes. Okay. We had also, you have Dylan Cardwell played 22 minutes, had cramps. So we needed Hudson to fill in. Okay. So we had 35 minutes from Chaney Johnson, 31 from Chad Baker-Mazara, 27 from Denver, 32 from Miles Kelly, and 22 from Tahaad Pettiford. Everybody was gassed at the end of this game.
It was very apparent. It was very apparent. And I mean, maybe this long 5-7 day rest that the team is getting is well needed and deserved. Yeah. And hopefully they come back refreshed. Hopefully they drink their Gatorade and stay away from the cramps. But it was a tough game to watch.
How bad was that officiating, specifically down the stretch, Josh?
In the second half, it was pretty abysmal. The refs were just calling the most ticky-tacky crap. In my
one-way ticky-tacky.
Yes, in my opinion, when games are that high tempo and that competitive, the refs should not decide the game. And it looked like they were trying their damnedest to give Georgia a fighting chance. He is a terrible officiate, and I hope he never calls another Auburn game. It was very rough. But at the end, both teams shot 20 free throws.
Just ridiculous. And Daryl Dappage has said it before. He wants the game to be about him.
Oh, you can tell it. on his face, you can tell. It's like, oh, I'm not making a big enough impact, so I'm going to start calling bullshit calls. It was very apparent from him in the second half for sure.
Yeah. And how did you call that penalty right there at the end of the game like he did? It just it's so frustrating. I hated it.
I've watched that like 4 different times. I still don't understand why they got free throws with 0.6 seconds left on the clock. I still don't understand it, especially when Auburn rebounded after. It's stupid.
Yeah. So, but again, talking about Tahaad Pettiford, he put the team on his back. There was at times where he was clearly the best player on the court. Best freshman in the country. He looks really, really good. Everyone's going to say Cooper Flagg, and Cooper Flagg is up for National Player of the Year. But Tahaad Pettiford is not getting talked about on a national stage like he really should, especially after that Georgia game, because
he needs to take the spotlight away from LeBaron Philon for Alabama, because that dude is getting way too much coverage for Alabama, because Alabama, they're just a bunch of frauds. And Tahaad Pettiford is, after his windmill dunk against Mississippi State, he deserves way more praise than he's getting for sure. Like, everyone knew he could dunk. I didn't know he could dunk like that. I did not.
No. He looked like Ja'Kai Howard out there, man.
Oh, absolutely. I think that was more shocking than what's his face dunking in 2019. Like his Jared Harper. I think it was more shocking than Jared Harper dunking. just in the fashion he did it. I knew he had hops. I just didn't know he had those hops.
Yeah, no, I agree. Tahaad Pettiford, he specifically this Georgia game, he really stepped up and has really impressed me. And he does not shy away from the big moment. Yes, he makes some rookie young mistakes. He holds on to the ball. He dribbles a lot more than I'd really like him to. But yes, and he is very coachable. They keep showing him on the bench, and the coaches are sitting there telling him, and he's getting in trouble for some of the things that he did. He had a turnover in this game where the coaches are looking at him, and he looks at him. He's like, yeah, I know.
He's making eye contact with the coaches on the sideline.
Yes.
It's huge. And the other point guard we had did not make eye contact. He'd hang his head low. Oh, Aiden Holloway, of course. He is one of the most uncoachable players I've ever seen don the orange and blue.
Oh, yeah.
Friggin' dummy.
I just cannot. I just cannot. Talking about Pettiford, he is literally just such a spark plug for this team, and is exactly who we need right now with Johni Broome being down. And even Johni Broome acknowledged that he is the dude. Speaking of Johni Broome, are we going to see him on Saturday, the 25th?
There's hope.
Or do you think it's going to go? I know we don't have any inside information, folks. This is not breaking news. We're not texting with Johni. Okay, every now and then Josh is texting and talking to Chad Baker Mazzara, but we don't have that connection with Johni Broome.
No.
If we did, one of us might be on on one of the other shows. But,
yeah, right.
But Josh, are we going to see Johni Broome in your opinion? Do you think it's going to happen?
In my opinion, I feel like he should sit Tennessee out at the very least. There is hope around the organization that Johni Broome will be back. The prognosis is looking good. I do not want them to rush it. So what if Tennessee is a top 10 team? I don't care about that right now. I don't care that Tennessee is on a 2-game losing streak right now. They're on 1-game losing streak. In the last 3,
but they've lost 2 games in the last,
Yeah, so I don't want them to rush him back. I would love for him to be back, but in my personal opinion, right now it's 50-50. I just hope he sits, to be honest. Just so he knows for a fact he's ready to go.
Yeah, I'm with you. I would love to see him play against Tennessee, but only if he is 100%.
Yes.
I don't need an 80% Johni Broome. Not that I won't take it if we needed it. I want a 100% Johni Broome. I don't care if we beat Tennessee in the grand scheme of things. I don't care if we stay number one. Yeah, it'd be nice.
We're
if we
at
continued
home,
it.
so I'm hoping we win.
Right, of course. And I'm not saying that I don't think I don't want to win. I'm just saying I want Johni Broome for the postseason. Okay, I want 100% Johni Broome. I don't think we need to see him in Tennessee against Tennessee, and I don't think we need to see him against LSU. Let's bring him back at Ole Miss. Start February off, or maybe even hold out until Oklahoma if you want to get him at home where the crowd can absolutely go ape shit crazy hearing his name get called. I'm all for letting these players get better and better without him
And not have to
really,
rely on Johni.
right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Best case right now, I would say Johni gets very limited minutes against Tennessee if they say he can play.
Agreed.
I'm up in the air right now. I want him to play, but at the same time, I really don't. I want him where it matters. In this game, in grand scheme of things, does not matter.
No, it doesn't. So coming up on the 25th, we're playing Tennessee. They are still ranked number 6 in the country, but they lost to Vanderbilt. And wait, did the rankings come out today on Monday?
Yeah, today.
The 20th, and they're ranked number 6 after that loss. Wow. I think that they would have dropped more than that. What were they last week?
Especially number 5.
Wow. Only dropping one spot. Now Vanderbilt is a top 50 team. So they're not terrible. They're a top 50 team, but I still feel like you drop more than one spot nationally.
I agree, especially getting absolutely boat raced by Florida. I mean, they deserve to drop. I don't think they deserve to be out of the top 10, but definitely not number 6.
Yeah. So it's going to be 7:30 p.m. Central Time on ESPN. ESPN currently has Auburn with a 74.3% chance of winning this game. You got to feel like that's based off of the boat race that they had against Mississippi State and the fact that it's at Neville Arena. If we're looking at it without Johni Broome, right, Josh?
Yeah, absolutely.
So Tennessee, they have a player, Laner, scoring 18 points a game, shooting 41% from the field. Ziegler is still there. I don't know how. He must get that. He must be getting the Diego Pavia treatment. He seems like he's been there for 5 years, right?
It seems like. I'm so tired of hearing Zakai Ziegler's name. So tired of it.
But he's got 7.7 assists per game. He's playing almost 34 minutes a game. So without Johni Broome, do we have a chance of winning this game? Or even with Johni Broome, do we have a chance of winning this game? What do you think?
Absolutely, we have a chance to win this game, and I think it's better than a lot of people think because Tennessee's only averaging 76, 77 points a game, and Auburn's defense is only allowing 66 points a game.
And the defense is playing better without Johni Broome.
In a way, yes. It seems like they're going up more aggressively for blocks, for sure.
Yeah. I just think they're faster on defense. They rotate better, it feels like. Only a couple times.
They rotate better.
Yeah. Huh?
I don't know if they rotate better, but they definitely are playing with a chip on their shoulder for sure.
Yeah, they are. They're playing relentless. This was the other thing that we talked about. That I thought that they were going to go to a style that Bruce Pearl has implemented historically on his teams and focus on stealing. What amount of steals have we had these last few games? Let's see here. At Georgia, how many steals did we have? Team stats.
Good amount.
We had 9 steals against Mississippi State. We already talked about Georgia. Mississippi State, we did have 10 blocks, but we also had 11 steals. So again, this is playing into Bruce Pearl's hands. He wants to be able to cut off the lanes, which again, Tahaad Pettiford is playing those passing lanes really well.
He is baiting them into passes that they do not want to make, and it's just a beautiful sight to behold. From game one, He played good. From game 1 to now, you can literally see the growth in the way he plays game in and game out. Like you said, though, he's still making those freshman mistakes, but they seem to be less and less and less.
Yeah. So if Auburn's able to if Auburn can pull off this win against Tennessee, which we both think they have the ability to do that, and we both think that they can, and I think if I were put foot to flame right now, I think they do win that game because of it being at Neville Arena. If Auburn wins the game, if Auburn wins this game, what has to happen, Josh? In your opinion, what has to happen?
If we win it or lose it?
For us to win this game, what has to happen?
Crank down on defense. You got to play aggressive against Tennessee because they're going to come out guns a-blazing. I don't think they're being riddled by any injuries, really. No one of note, anyways. I don't have those players in front of me, but I think Auburn's going to have to crank down on defense and really, really, really limit turnovers.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely have to limit turnovers. I think we need to get a better shooting game than what we had at Georgia. And I think we need to, again, let Chad cook, man. Just let him go out there and be the baller that he is, be the guy that we know him to be. He wants that pressure in the biggest moment. He stepped up in the Georgia game. He finished the game really strong. And like Tahaad said, he's either going to have 30 points or he's going to go out there and have a bunch of steals and blocks and affect the defensive end.
It's going to have to be a team effort.
If Chad has a good game, I think we win this game. If he has a bad game, I do think we lose. I think
if Chad has an average game, like just average numbers throughout the season, and Chaney Johnson, Tahaad Pettiford, and Miles Kelly have above average games, then I think we're going to win this one probably by 9 or 10 points.
Wow. Okay.
But assuming we don't get Broome back until Oklahoma, like you said that it could be a possibility, what is our record in the next 5 games? We have Tennessee at home, then we're at LSU, at Ole Miss, home against Oklahoma, and home against Florida. Assuming we don't get Johni back until Oklahoma, what's our record in those 5 games?
Including Oklahoma.
Including up to Florida.
Okay, I got you. Okay. So I got us. So we win Tennessee. We beat LSU. I think we lose to Ole Miss. Beat Oklahoma. Yeah. Beat Oklahoma and beat Florida. So one lost. 4-1.
Looks really good. So you think we beat Florida but lose to Ole Miss?
That's assuming Johni Broome comes back in Oklahoma and has 2 games. That'll be his second game. Now, if he plays in any game before that, then I for sure think that we have the ability to beat Florida. It's at Neville Arena. Winning on the road in the SEC. We've talked about it since the preseason when we had the preseason predictions. I said, and you agreed, winning on the road in the SEC, specifically this year, is going to be extremely hard for Auburn, let alone other people coming into Neville Arena. And so, yes, I think we have the ability to beat Florida even with a hobbled Johni Broome.
I can agree with you. I can agree with your 4-1, especially looking at our 3 away games in the SEC. Our largest margin of victory was against Texas by 5. And South Carolina is nowhere close to be. Yeah, with Johni Broome. South Carolina is nowhere near being ranked, and we beat them by 3, and Georgia by 2. So I guess I can see us tripping up at Ole Miss. I just don't want to give Alabama that satisfaction.
That's true. That's true. It'd be nice to beat Ole Miss as well. But Josh, all in all, we continue to win without Johni Broome on the court. And that is the most that you and I can hope for at this point. Yes, absolutely. And with that, Josh, War Eagle.
War damn Eagle.
Johnson goes to deny. Step back. Big play.
It's got you here.
Jones doesn't go. The tip by Broome.